that down. Let's move on to this, shall we? We're about to make a name for ourselves here. Gambit, clearly, look, there's a lot of things coming out of Deadpool and Wolverine. By the way, don't know if you saw this, Deadpool and Wolverine now officially crossed the $900 million mark. Woo. By the time we get the full Monday box office report, we're probably going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine being the next installment into the $1 billion club. And a lot of things stand out in it. A lot of people talking Blade, a lot of people talking about the Calverine, all that kind of stuff. But one of the big things people were excited about, including Channing Tatum himself, was talking about Remy LeBeau, the Comte de Gambit. Sounded like he was doing a bad George St. Pierre impersonation. Was just charming and delightful and wonderful. Now, for a long time, Channing Tatum didn't just want to have a Gambit movie. Fox, before it was taken over by Disney, officially announced it. They made it, like a lot of people forget that. It was official. They got on stage at Comic-Con and brought out Channing Tatum. For any of you who don't remember that, they brought out Channing Tatum with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds and Patrick Stewart and all the crew. He came out there. It was official. They're doing a Gambit movie. And then Fox got bought out. That picture there, taken backstage at Comic-Con the year they announced that Channing Tatum was going to be the Gambit. And it never happened. And Channing Tatum has for years talked about how heartbroken he was. He's never wanted a role as much as he wanted this one. And of course, Ryan Reynolds, he just penned this really nice note to Ryan Reynolds on his social media. Ryan Reynolds fought for it to get into this Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and there he is. And everybody's talking about the Gambit now. Because I have it on good authority that Channing Tatum shot out of his daddy's dick ready to do a Gambit. I have that. I can't reveal my source, but I have it on good authority. Well, now, instead of saying stuff like that you would expect to hear him say, like, hey, it was great. It was a dream come true to finally play Gambit, and I'm so satisfied that I had that opportunity. I'm so glad I did. No. Channing Tatum is still campaigning. He wants the Gambit. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who wrote this. Will Channing Tatum finally get his wish to star in a Gambit movie? I sure hope so. He told me at Thursday's premiere of Blink Twice at the Directors Guild of America in West Hollywood. From your mouth to God's ears. Write it into existence, my friend, please. Now I'm going to read this a little bit at length because I think this is good. Tatum's newfound faith follows a surprise cameo as the X-Men mutant in Deadpool and Wolverine. Tatum and his producing partner, Reed Carolyn, spent 4 years developing a standalone Gambit film for 20th Century Fox, but the movie died when Disney acquired Fox in 2019. Yes, he's already told Marvel he wants to make it happen. I've said it. I've been saying I want it for the last 10 years, Tatum said. It's in Bob Iger and Kevin Feige's hands. I pray to God. So, not being satisfied simply with getting his chance to make a name for himself, or the lives he hoped he would get to save, or all the great lines that he had in the movie, he is still stomping for this film. He wants this to get done. And today, more than in any other time in history, it seems like a lot of fans are open to it. Now, I remember when they first announced they were going to get Channing Tatum as Gambit, it reminded me a lot of when they announced Robert Pattinson was going to be hired to play Batman, or when, Heath Ledger was going to be hired to play Joker. A lot of people hated the idea. Saying, that's dumb. But I said, listen, I used to think Channing Tatum was a terrible actor, and he was a terrible actor for a good part of his career in the early days. But he was committed, and he got better and better and better. And it got to the point that I was actually looking forward to seeing Channing Tatum in movies. And the more I thought about him playing Gambit, it's like, listen, with that dude's dance background, physicality, he can easily bring all the physicality needed to the role. He'll look great doing it. He's got fabulous comedic timing, which he started to show off in some comedy films. And he's just gotten a lot better as a performer in and of himself. I think he could carry this movie. But then again, it never did come to pass. Nobody's asking for a Jennifer Garner Elektra standalone movie. But there are still a lot of people after this movie thought maybe Wesley Snipes should be given a Blade film. I'm one of those people that thought Wesley Snipes did great in Deadpool and Wolverine, but I also think it made the point that you can't do a standalone movie with him now, right? Like, he did great in the role, but it also became very, very clear he couldn't carry a movie now as Blade. I'm sure he could carry other kinds of movies, just not Blade. But how do we feel about a Gambit standalone movie after seeing what he did in there? I have two thoughts. And then, Chris, I'm going to be curious to hear what you think about these.
Okay.
Thought number one is, I would still love to see a Channing Tatum Gambit movie. I really would. I think he would fit in so well into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And let's face it, if you're bringing in the X-Men, you got to have a Gambit anyway. Now, Channing Tatum's a little bit older now. Maybe they think he's a little too old to start as Gambit. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying maybe they think he is, but whatever. Put that aside for a second. So my thought number one is, I would love to see him play Gambit. Thought number two, it would clearly need to be a different variant of Gambit than the one we got in Deadpool and Wolverine. Because the Gambit we got in Deadpool and Wolverine was perfect for spot comedy, some great interaction with our main leads, and some great lines. But you can't have somebody sounding like their dialect coach was the Minions. Right? They'd have to change it up a bit. They'd have to also put a little bit, I mean, you want to maintain the levity, but you also got to put a little bit of a darker side on it. So thought one, would love to see him get a Gambit movie. Thought two, it would have to definitely be a different variant of him that's a little bit different than the one we got in the movie. And then I'll follow that up with thought three. While I would love it, and if you did it, it would have to be a little bit of a different variant. My third thought is, I don't think it's going to happen. I would like for it to happen, but I don't think it will. You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat and you have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? That's kind of what it feels like when you discover that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal, there is no way you can keep it to yourself. My last mobile service provider was quite good, but ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've enjoyed even better coverage, better phone clarity, and I'm paying less than a third of what I paid to my old provider. Say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bills to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions may apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Anyway, Chris, you're seeing Channing Tatum is not given up on this Gambit. He is still trying to talk this thing into existence. Could they do it? How would they do it? Is it even a good idea to do it? What do you think about it?
I mean, hope springs eternal for Channing Tatum here. I think it'd be great for him to do this. I mean, his fight scenes alone in Deadpool and Wolverine just show that he is so great for this. If you watched any of his prep work too, the choreography training that he was working on, oh my gosh, he's incredible as this. Also, let's talk about the Cajun for a second. Y'all talk to any Cajuns? That's like 80% there.
Yeah.
That dialect is pretty much there. I don't care who you are. If you have been down to Louisiana, if you've been down to the Bayou, this is how people sound.
But there's a reason we don't see a lot of them leading movies.
Exactly. But that dialect, when everyone's like, it's garbage, it's so close to what it's supposed to be.
It is very close, yes.
So close to what it's supposed to be. I think it'd be great. I do know some people have some issues with the kind of comic book accuracy of wanting a leaner kind of tall Gambit. I think Channing Tatum fits the bill here, though, because of his movement training, because he can do all these incredible kind of acrobatic feats in much the same vein of Tom Holland being Spider-Man. You know, they bring this athleticism that is so great, and it also makes so you don't have as much back and forth between stunt performers. You have your actual lead doing a lot of those movements and throwing those cards and everything, which keeps you, you know, grounded in the reality that they're trying to establish here. I think he works really well in that. Do I think he's going to get a movie? I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't think, as you're ushering in the X-Men, I don't think you lead with Gambit. Although, The stuff with the Thieves Guild, the Assassins Guild, is really cool stuff. If you
Yeah.
weren't super into the comics or really rewatched the X-Men show from the 90s, they hinted at it in
Did you
X-Men
see the little
97.
short film that came out on YouTube a few years ago too?
No.
There's a Gambit like short film that somebody that a
hell
fan
yeah.
put together that was actually really live action. That was actually pretty good for a fan made thing. Yeah.
He's got great, weird, dark stories that you can really pull from. And I think there's some interesting stuff to mine from it. I just don't know if that's the route that Feige and crew would go when it comes to the X-Men. I don't know if you pop them off in like separate films and then have them assemble like the Avengers, or if they all are, hey, we're at the school, hey, we work with Xavier. I'm not sure how you go about it.
Yeah, Ray, I'm curious with you and Jonathan too. Like, you saw Deadpool and Wolverine a couple times. Do you think you could see them actually doing a Gambit movie
I want it
with
but-
Channing Tatum? I mean,
I want it, but they're not gonna do it. It's just a bet because I would say wait, but then Channing Tatum can't wait. This movie
he's
has
44 now.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
movie has to be made now. I want it, but I don't know if it would put a wrench in their plans, which the MCU is already, needs to fix some other things, but then throw in a Gambit, and then I just don't know if the risk, if they want to make that risk or take that risk. Maybe something on Disney Plus, but I don't know if Tatum would even want that.
Nah.
Yeah, but I would love to see a Gambit movie with him as Gambit, because I got a kick out of it.
Let me throw another wrench in the works here. When people think of Gambit in the X-Men, what's the first thing most people normally think of?
Bisexuality.
I wasn't going to go there,
Okay.
but that's
Rogue.
good too.
Rogue.
Rogue, right? Who is supposed to be a young kind of Southern Belle, right? I don't think that if you go now, we don't have to go off the first X-Men movie as the main thing, but you bring in Rogue, I think people are looking for an 18, 19, 20-year-old Rogue.
Unless
if you're
it's
gonna-
X-Men 97 and mid-60s
Yeah.
Rogue.
Well, and if you're
But
going to
yeah.
go comic book accuracy about how he has to look, she's going to be older. Rogue is introduced in her mid to late 20s, and she is a runaway. She is from the backwoods. Like, she is his colleague and equal and age appropriate. I don't know.
Yeah. So
I
just,
don't need it to be X-Men Evolution. I don't need them to rotoscope kids dancing at the Brahms.
I know, but I mean, just traditionally
weird
Rogue,
cut.
traditionally Rogue's a bit younger.
Yeah.
Traditionally, Jubilee is a bit younger. You can do them in a
Sure.
different way. But I mean, could you have like a 19-year-old Rogue being romanced by the 44-year-old Gambit? Like, are people going to go, ooh? Or
People weren't by Paul Bettany and Lizzie Olsen.
what's their age difference?
I believe it's like
Ray, look that up. What's
20 years.
Elizabeth Olsen's age and what's Paul Bettany's age?
Paul Bettany just
Now
looks
remember,
young.
Paul Bettany was 1 year old. Vision is 1,
That's fair.
right?
But then
She's
that's
just-
actually kind of gross
she's
Just a
the
too.
baby
cougar.
robot, and she's
yeah,
a
she's the
predator.
cougar. He's just the very
Well, he's
expensive
50
sex toy.
He's
She's
53.
She's 35,
And how old is Paul Bettany?
53.
How old?
53.
and
Okay,
then she
so-
was 35.
14, 13 years? No,
Yeah.
not 13 years. Sorry. I forgot the ages already. How old are they?
53 and 35.
Oh, so 18 years.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah, but again, he's supposed to be 1 or 2 years old. So you can get away with that. Anyway, guys,
He's a robot. People do that all the time.
it's all good. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Channing Tatum is still chasing the dream, man, of being Gambit in the MCU. Do you want it to happen? And do you think they practically can make it happen? Can you start a brand new X-Men universe with a 44, let's face it, at the time, it would probably be a 45-year-old Channing Tatum? Can you start something with that? Maybe yes, maybe no. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.